Hi there, Sophia here from SkinandPulp. Tonight I am speaking again to Matt from Elms Wines. It's our final session on Christmas wines. So we've had a session on sparkling wines, all the way from kind of Cava through to Prosecco and some English sparkling wine. We have had a session on Christmas classic alternatives, and that was really fun last week. And then tonight we're doing Fortified and Stickies. So really excited for this session. Can't wait to show you all the bottles that I have next to me. So I've seen that Matt's here. I'm gonna add him and we can get cracking. Hi, Matt.
Hi, good evening, Sophia. How are you?
Good evening. Yes, very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good. Christmas is kicking in. It's been manic this week, but
it is. I think I'm most excited about this session.
Yeah.
Because well, I mean, everyone can't see my wines properly, but I have 6 here.
Yes. I know, overkill again, but I couldn't help myself.
I love it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be very enjoyable. Well, for us anyway.
I know. Hi, people at home.
But there's a common theme running through tonight in that I've picked wines that they're all very versatile wines, you know. And I think one of the misconceptions we often or people think is that sweet wines or fortified wines only have one reason. They can't find an occasion to drink them, or they open a bottle and don't use it all. So what I looked for is a selection of wines across the sort of gamut of styles and sweetnesses, and from around the world, that you can enjoy not just at Christmas but across the whole time. And I've picked out a couple. There's a couple of real stars in here, and there's a couple of real left field drinks. I think you've got one in your hand there, the ice cider, which we'll finish on as well. But, yeah.
So when I never heard the term sticky before I got into the wine industry. So just for people who might not know that term, how would you describe it? What is it?
I mean, yeah. It's not something that even myself, that I really use. There's sweet wines and there's fortified wines, but I think it's become a collective term for sweet wines that you have at the end of a meal or with a dessert, that kind of thing. And it's become a sort of colloquial term that gathers in so many different styles.
Exactly. I think it originates from Australia. For some reason.
Yes.
And it makes sense because they always give things nicknames and shorten things.
That's right. And the Rutherglen muscats and these kind of wines, which are very powerful sweet wines. They've got a track record for that. But that's where I think the term stickies comes from. But as I say, it covers such a wide range of wines and opportunities. And this is a really interesting one because hopefully this will take people not out of their comfort zone, but it will they may get given a bottle. They may think, I need to buy something for Christmas to have at the end of the meal or with the cheese, but hopefully this will give them some confidence of how to enjoy it and to try something new. So
so we're looking at ports, sherries, that kind of thing. So anything with high sugar content that you might think, oh, that would be good with dessert or cheese. Yes, that's in our category, isn't it?
That's in our category, but I'm going to take you away from desserts and cheese as well a little. So, we have port and we have sauterne, so that more traditional wines that people will have heard of and may have a better understanding of. A little bit of everything, but I've completely cheated and gone off the brief because the first wine is not a sweet wine.
Oh, okay. What are we? Is it the Oloroso?
Yeah, the Oloroso.
Oloroso. Okay.
Yeah, the Aurora Oloroso.
I am a huge fan of this bottle.
Yeah,
this is very appealing to me.
Yeah. So the made by Bodegas Yuste in San Luca de Barrameda. The Aurora range is a brand that harks back to the early 20th century, where this lady, Aurora, was the head of a sherry house. So, 120 years ago. And it became a very popular brand, and Bodegas Yuste have brought it back to life. Again, reasonably small production, and they make ranges up from Manzanilla through to Pedro Jimenez, so PX sherries.
Oh, I love a PX sherry as well.
Yeah. So the Oloroso, however, I put this in because it's a wine that, whilst dry, goes so well with cheeses, a lot of Christmas food. It's got such a great nutty characteristic, really long finish. It will go on and on and on in the mouth. You get walnuts, you'll almost get autumnal truffly aromas. And it's made in an oxidative style, so and in a Solera system. So I don't want to go into. I could do a whole session on sherries, but I'm not going to go into too much detail. But effectively, this wine has had around 10 years of aging through the Solera system.
Okay.
Palomino grapes. You might feel a little hint of sweetness in there, but it's not a sweet wine. But what it is fantastic with is game, charcuterie, all those kind of things, and cheeses in particular. Very, very good with cheeses.
The manchego.
Yeah, exactly. And also with anything with a complementary that's not too sweet with nuts in it. That kind of thing. So you go on.
Yeah, on the nose, like you say, it is earthy and foresty, truffles, mushrooms, but then you said there's like a hint of sweetness, and I can smell maybe a marmalade or something like, or an apricot preserve.
Yeah, it's a beautifully complex wine. And I know people have to be quite brave to try these things sometimes, but if you are a bit of if you're a foodie and you're serving a bit of game or stews or autumnal dishes, this is a perfect pairing, and it will work on several occasions. And because it's been made in an oxidative style as well, it's the kind of thing you could keep in the fridge door for a long time. Once it's opened, it's not going to deteriorate. And it's the kind of thing where I even just enjoy it. It has sort of I'm going to say this a couple of times, but a contemplative glass just on its own, because honestly it just goes on and on.
Yeah, and it has the acidity still, so it's still nice and fresh. I mean, not too much, but then I can just imagine sitting here with a bowl of salted almonds. Maybe a bit of Iberico ham. That would be perfect, wouldn't it? I'm going to Spain in my mind now.
There you go. Well, yes, precisely. But it will also, if you think about nutty cheeses, hard cheeses, even salty cheeses, this will go fantastically well with those.
Ooh, yeah.
So you can go through the majority of things that you eat around the Christmas period, in the autumn, in the winter, and this is a perfect match. This will really, really go well with hearty stews as well. So if you're looking at something where you don't want to crack open a bottle of wine, but you just want a glass of something that's going to be quite memorable, this is a great option.
Yeah, I think great as an aperitif as well. So we touched on at the beginning, not just for desserts and for cheeses. Like, serve something like this, like nice and chilled right at the beginning, with some nuts and some cheese. And for those people that don't necessarily have a sweet tooth, I mean, what are you doing here?
That's right.
It has a lovely savoury tang to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's great. Just a couple of comments. Brad Winetime London saying he loves sherry, and saying the PX is also incredible. We have another PX fan, Zoe's into wine, is saying she. But this is Oloroso.
I could have done the PX, but as I say, I could have given you 15 or 20 wines, and you know, the PX is extraordinary. Mince pies, ice cream, very sweet desserts. Just as a dessert on its own, a glass of PX.
Oh, I know.
There you go.
I agree.
So
Right.
yeah, and the Aurora range, they're fantastic. As I say, from the Manzanilla through to the PX, great labels, great sherries.
Okay, cool. And Brad, just to round things off, he's saying sherry gets the palate ready for wine and food.
Oh yeah.
I agree. So this one, 19.99. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is, for a Christmas present as well, because the label is so beautiful. I think that is gorgeous.
No, it is. It's you know, and it's a boutique. You won't see it around very often. But it really is. We have a great following for the Aurora brand, and it would make a lovely present. I agree with you there.
Very cool. Yeah. Okay, what's next?
Next, so we're actually going to something with a bit of sweetness in it. We're going to port.
Ooh.
We're going to 10-year Tawny port. So this is from Alves de Souza. This is the Quinta da Gavosa, which is their flagship vineyard. So this is a single vineyard 10-year Tawny port.
Open it up.
So anyone who watched last week, we did one of their red wines from this vineyard, the Primeros Años.
We did, yes.
Yeah. So again, I chose a Tawny port. I could have chosen an LBV. I wasn't going to choose a vintage, but so I could have chosen a ruby style port. But I actually wanted to show something that, again, brings the versatility through.
Look at that colour.
Oh, it's
that is beautiful.
Yeah. Gorgeous, isn't it?
Garnet going on to brick and sort of dark caramel. Yeah. Beautiful.
Now, a good Tawny port is Christmas in a glass to me. You get so many nutty, dry fruit aromas. Anything, I mean, and it pairs so well with so many foods you'll be eating. I mean, have this with a slice of cake, with a mince pie, with any nut-based desserts. Absolutely superb, and it goes fantastically well as all of these wines will with cheese.
Yes.
And actually, the thing to think about, a lot of sweet wines as well. I think popcorn, salty and sweet, they go together so well, don't they?
Yeah, and this actually tastes like a really rich kind of artisan popcorn. So many people overlook Tawny port, or they don't really know it. They don't understand it really. So
no, I think because traditionally people think of passing port to the left and of it as a ruby thing, and you either have very old developed vintage ports or an LBV. And when you're in the supermarket or when you look to buy something for Christmas Day and you're looking to pair, people are thinking port and Stilton or port and cheese. They often go, and you know, it's a different style of port, but and they're fantastic. But I find that Tawny has a broader range of pairings. I agree. And I think that's why I selected it over. They do a fantastic single vineyard LBV, but this will do desserts. It will do cheese. I love actually a good Tawny port, just a glass at the end of the day on its own, slightly chilled.
Yeah, I think again I'm going for chilled, and you could do it as an aperitif as well.
Yeah. And then the thing with this as well is that so with a Tawny port compared to a ruby style port, this has been aged in large oak barrels once it's been fortified, and the 10-year thing, it's meant to be an average of 10 years, but actually with Alves de Souza it's a minimum of 10 years. And in fact, if they could, you can't categorize it as this. They'd say it's their 15-year Tawny. So the thing with you're getting with this is it's single vineyard, small family producer, superb quality, and you're getting, it says 10 years, but you're getting ports in there from much older. So you're getting the concentration caused by the aging and the oxidization. And again, because it's oxidized, you can keep it in the fridge. You keep it chilled. Just pop the lid back on, slowly.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've got a big gathering, it won't last very long. But...
No, not at my house anyway. How long would this last in the fridge?
I'll get shocked because someone will say it's wrong, but I think you could put it in the fridge. If you looked after it, you could put it in the fridge for several weeks.
Nice. Brilliant.
Whereas I think with the ruby,
bottle.
Yeah, with the ruby ones and the vintage ports and the LBVs, you've got a much shorter drinking window.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they are superb wines as well, but they're for a different purpose.
Okay, I've got 2 questions on temperature. First of all, would it be sacrilege if you put this over a bit of ice?
If it was warm when it went over the ice, probably not. No. I think the thing is, the colder it gets, it dulls down some of the characteristics, but it should be chilled. Okay. You know, it's a 20% ABV wine, so you should chill it slightly just to take that edge off it. And I think, yes, if you want it, you could put it over ice. I will get assassinated by somebody now. So, but
well, I recently went to a Bordeaux tasting. They put Sauterne over ice, and they just and a slice of orange rind as well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Said, we're just mixing it up a bit. So I think if you find a serving style that works for you and your friends, then
no, I agree. I agree, and this is certainly something to do with. I mean, as you say, these first 2 wines, they are mingling in the mouth now. They're going on and on and on. They're, it's worth splashing out on these. And as I say, if you want a port, but you also want a port that will go with all kinds of things, not just your cheese.
Because it's not too sweet at all. Like it has that richness, but it's still very light. It has a freshness to it. My second question about temperature. Ruby port, would you say serve that chilled?
Just below room temperature, yeah. Less. This should be more chilled, but a bit like some red wines. Just take the edge off them.
Yeah,
don't want them to.
So many people don't think about that. Like I love my port like slightly chilled, and I think that's how they serve it in Spain most of the time.
Yeah, it is, and I know it's an old tale, and people mention it lots of times, but people say room temperature, but room temperature when these going back hundreds of years was not the room temperature we have now.
No.
So there is, there needs to be a certain, and it just makes the wine sing better, and you want to get the most out of it. So yeah, you're right. So ruby port, yes, slightly off.
Yeah.
Just but not as much as the tawny.
Yeah. It's just a different experience. I think some people, and it's easy to do, it's that image of having a glass of port with cheese board at the end of the meal. And they kind of mix the image of brandy, like swirling brandy by a fireside. So yeah, don't be afraid to stick the port in the fridge for 20 minutes or something.
You should.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you definitely should. And as I say, this particular one, a tawny style ports will, they'll do the cheese, they'll do sort of almondy or walnutty based desserts or pastries. That's fantastic with mince pies. It's fantastic with Christmas cake, and it will work as an aperitif as well. So
yeah, beautiful. This one, so 31.49.
Yes, yeah.
And it is a very sophisticated bottle here.
It is.
Yeah, that would look very cool.
It is, and you've got to remember as well, it's single vineyard, so it's not a blend. It's not being sourced from fruit all over the place. There's a lot of care and winemaking and aging gone into it, so you're kind of paying a little bit more for that.
Yeah,
but I think it's well worth it.
Yeah, and I've said before, the wines in your portfolio, they're all like restaurant quality wines, so just so stylish. I feel like in the range of the vineyards, they've got these bottles, assigned for restaurants, and so they're just always so beautifully designed.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed them. But,
yeah.
No, it's lovely. I've got to stop drinking that, otherwise.
I don't want to, but no, I'm excited about the next one.
So, we are now. We're going to Slovenia now.
Oh, let me have a look. Which one do I? Because there's Is it this one?
It certainly is.
Right, yeah, this.
So it's the Domaine Chiringa from Slovenia.
Chiringa. And what is this on the front? Is it bread or is it a vegetable?
No, I think that is to do with the soils. It's got a lot of limestone and shells, crushed shells, that kind of thing. So
Okay.
and fossils. So for Cellini Breg, that will give you a clue.
Okay.
So this is in Slovenia. This is on the Austrian border. So last week we did a Sauvignon Blanc, or we tasted a Sauvignon Blanc from Tement.
Yes.
Yes. This is owned by Tement. And so what you have is on the Austrian side, you've got these steep hills, and on the Austrian side, their main vineyard is called Zereg, and it goes up to the peak, and then it goes over the other side, and over the other side is Slovenia. So it's this fantastic single vineyard for Sauvignon Blanc. So they have a different domain, it's a different country, but slightly different aspect, but similar soils. And they produce some fantastic dry Sauvignon Blancs. But this is new to us. This is a late harvest, well, it's actually a Beer and Auslese, and I'll get into that in a minute.
Please do.
So yeah, Sauvignon Blanc. But this is something different. It is unmistakably Sauvignon Blanc on the nose,
right?
But it is massively honeyed. You've got tropical fruit, stone fruit. Yeah.
So Domaine Chiringa, we're talking about a Slovenian wine.
Yeah.
Sauvignon Blanc, 100% Sauvignon Blanc.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Vintage 2017.
Yes.
Oh, there's a flintiness straight away that I got.
Absolutely. You get flintiness. You'll get peach. You'll get herbs. With the sweetness, you get the honey on the nose. But the thing you do get, Beer and Auslese refers to the must weight or the sugar element of the grapes when they're picked. And Beer and Auslese means berry selection. So this is actually a noble rot.
Right. I was going to say, because I've obviously heard Riesling be termed in that way.
Yeah.
But, I hadn't heard of any Slovenian wine.
Yes, well, and when we get into Krakow, we're going to go into a run of 3 wines now that all are based on noble rot or botrytis, as it's known. Okay, but they've got varying different styles and varying sweetnesses to them. But what they all have is a great acidity, different grape varieties. So this is Sauvignon Blanc. This is something different. But what this has been fermented so it's hand selected botrytis berries.
Okay.
It's matured in stainless steel tank for at least a year, but the slow fermentation, even though they've converted a lot more of the sugar than you would normally have in a Beer and Auslese wine into alcohol. So it's actually 15%, 15.5%. It's not fortified, but it's had a slow maturation. So the alcohol level is reasonably strong, but it's so well balanced with the acidity and the fruit characteristics of it.
Hence the half bottle, which is small balls, guys.
And this kind of thing, this is the kind of thing that you probably would think more desserts with, and I'm thinking fruity desserts and fruit flans, fruit salads.
There's a slight candied orange.
Yes.
Like taste.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things with dried fruits in them, this kind of thing. But we'll see the sweetness is slightly lower in this than a couple of the other wines that we're about to taste. But the balance is there, and again, it does work as an aperitif, and it's got the sweet and salty thing, so it will you could have this with blue cheese.
Yeah, and I'd
And
be bold enough to maybe try it with something like duck à l'orange.
yeah, absolutely. Anything that can pick up the fruitiness.
Yeah,
But
and you say like these wines are kind of good with game, so maybe something gamey would work.
No, you're absolutely right. It will work with savoury dishes, especially things with fruit sauces or a hint of that, or spice. I mean, that's the other thing I haven't mentioned. Spice. These wines love spice. So saltiness, spiciness, richness, and a good sweet wine has to have the balance of fruitness and acidity, so it's not too cloying.
Exactly.
And that's what makes it work with savoury foods or with strong foods, balances it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing some people mistake with sweet wines is if you're having really, really sweet desserts, a lot of sweet wines cannot stand up to it all the time. You've got to try and sort of balance that out, and it's not going to go with every kind of dessert. But you have to say,
you also have to make both components sing, don't you? And I've definitely had a beautiful sweet wine, but then you've got a dessert that is a bit too sickly sweet, and then it kind of dulls down the wine because it obviously makes the wine more savoury.
Yeah.
So it's a balance, but I think people should be braver with their pairings and try and branch out beyond dessert.
No, I mean, I think it's something different. It's half bottles. It's a single vineyard. It's a Beerenhouse laser, so high levels of selection. It's through the vineyard several passes to collect the right berries at the right time.
Yeah.
It's very good.
The difference, because people might be, they might know a noble rot Riesling or a harvest Riesling. With this, I mean, so Riesling has acidity, and obviously Sauvignon Blanc does too. So you've got this high acidity with this, but grassy notes. There's something very distinctively Sauvignon Blanc about this, like
this is it.
Green, grassy, and bell pepper notes.
This is it. I think this is what the Sauvignon Blanc grape brings to it, because it's an aromatic grape. It's got its very distinct personality. And you don't, there are a few, and New Zealand, they make pure Sauvignon Blanc stickies sometimes. And Sauvignon Blanc obviously is a major component of Sauternes, which we'll go on to in a minute. But this on its own really is allowed to sing.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to be adventurous, you want something different, this is a lovely wine. And
just looking at the price, so $20.99 this one.
Yeah.
How much would you expect to pay for, really high-end Sauternes? It's a small little
well, if you're at the Echem end of things, or lower down, I mean, you can. I would say, it's a good noble rot wine is never going to be cheap.
But what I'm trying to sort of lead you to is that it's great value for.
Yeah, no, it is.
Great.
I think it's great value.
Yeah, because you mentioned the Echem, but I mean, a lot of Sauvignon Blancs will set you back kind of 40 quid for a full bottle, and this is $20.99. So I think
I mean I think if you go to larger, well-known Sauternes chateaux or domains from good years, you'll be paying 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. And if you're going to the Cru Classé wines, several hundreds.
Yeah.
But again, these will age. This is 2017, and this is the latest vintage. So these will age. And again, something I haven't brought up is that all of these wines, sweet wines, now we've gone past the oxidative wines, the ones we're about to do now, they just change in character as they age. You go from more of the fruit-forward, tropical, honeyed, floral characteristics to the sort of candied, caramelly, butterscotchy. And this will do exactly the same over time.
Ooh. And both good. I like that fresh tropical note, the fresh tropical notes that you're saying, but then when they get sort of more candied and more toffeed. They're just so beautiful and luxurious, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
Ooh.
But I you know, it's something that I thought, well, no, we should show this. It's, you know, you don't get many Slovenian wines, or people don't know that they're, you know, they're in the UK. But great quality.
This could have even qualified for our last week's Christmas classic alternatives.
Yes, it could have done. It could have done. It could have done. And
so yeah, for people who hadn't watched last week's, we were talking about sort of lesser known grape varieties, lesser known regions, definitely towards kind of the Eastern European regions as well. You know, you're getting bang for your buck.
You are. I think that's it. Central Europe, Eastern Europe are making outstanding wines at the moment, and you get fantastic value for what they do. So
definitely.
Oh, that's very good.
I enjoyed that.
Having talked about Sauternes, though.
Oh, here we are. So I was surprised to see this in a 750.
Yeah. So, well, there's two reasons behind that.
Yes.
One is that we also do it in halves, but they've proved very popular. And secondly, actually, I don't think there's anything wrong with the 75 centilitre. Most of the restaurants buy 75 centilitre. Again, it's another wine you can keep in the fridge. And if you've got 6 or 8 of you around the Christmas table, this won't last very long.
Yeah,
that's it. So
that's the thing. I always think when you do get a half bottle of Sauternes, it is just like, oh, that's a shame that it's gone. So I can see why you have these.
Yeah. But I mean, I get you, and there will be half bottles of this back on the website very soon. But
no, I meant that it's a shame that it goes so quickly around the table. You just want it to last longer.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. People shouldn't be afraid of full bottles of sweet wines.
Exactly. Ian Dodd is saying, I'm drinking a Chateau Petit Vedrine.
Very nice, Ian. Well,
2016.
Yeah, hopefully you can get some of the same characteristics from what we're about to taste. But yeah, I'm pleased he's enjoying the Sauternes.
Ooh. Are you drinking that now, Ian? Are you drinking that for our live, which would be lovely? Maybe, yeah. Okay, so shall I pour a full little glass? Yeah,
so please pour away. Again, should be served chilled. The thing to say about Sauternes is, particularly the French, they do not consider it a dessert wine. In fact, most of the Bordelais absolutely back stiffen when if you call it dessert wine. It is a sweet wine. It is a wine that people often do pair with some desserts. But again, with desserts, it's about balancing the sweetness. But Sauternes, again, so this is the most famous region, I would say, in the world for botrytis or noble rot wines. It's the home to Chateau Yquem. It's, you know, gorgeous, long-lasting sweet wine from the Sauternes region. This
would you like to give a quick overview of what noble rot is?
I could, yes. So with this wine, the previous one, and the one we're going to do afterwards. So it is a botrytis, I suppose, fungi that concentrates and raisins the grape and creates huge sugar and flavor concentration. But it's very temperamental in the regions that you can grow it in, and it requires the right climatic conditions to do so. Mm-hmm. So Sauternes, which is in the Bordeaux region, as you've got the Garonne River and a tributary near there, and that creates mists. The water meeting the warm weather creates mists in the evening and in the morning, and then and that creates the conditions for the sort of fungi or the botrytis to grow on the grapes. This is a very simplified version. And then the warm temperatures burn the mist off and stop fungus going too far. Anyway,
It's like controlled
Yeah,
rotting,
it is. It's controlled rotting, but
but
like
delicious wine.
it is, it is. But again, these are wines that take huge amount of care. The number, you know, it's all hand selected. The berries are picked several times, several passes through the vineyard. So this is traditional blend of Semillon, Sauvignon Blanc, and Muscadel, which are the three main Sauternes grape varieties. The vines are 40 to 50-year-olds, and this is a small domain. I think it's up to about 14 hectares now, but it started at about 8 hectares, family owned. And I think the great thing about Sauternes is, but it takes a bit of sniffing out, is that everybody knows the big Sauternes and Barsac Chateau, and they come with a price. But there are a lot of producers. It's a bit like Burgundy. If you know the producer, they're producing wines of just, you know, I'd be shot against saying equal stature, but they are. The quality is there. You're paying for what's in the bottle. So again, this has 12 months in maturation in French and American oak. So you get that.
A little bit of smokiness, a little bit of like baking spice and
yes.
vanilla. Oh, yeah, definitely a vanilla.
Yes, you'll get a bit of that, and at this age now, you're still getting the sort of tropical characteristics, the floral characteristics, honey, that kind of thing. But there's a great acidity to it, which is balancing it out.
Really great.
Yeah.
I thought the other ones. I thought the one before had a good. It has a good acidity, but this has a great acidity. It's like making all my saliva glands here just prick up.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing. A lot of people don't realize that, yes, you can have that sweetness, and it's a lot of sweetness, but because the acidity is so precise and high and controlled, it's a refreshing experience. Not when it's chilled, when the wine is chilled, it's refreshing, not cloying.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And every great sweet wine from around the world has that same characteristic.
Yeah, like Tokai has it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. And you know, so traditionally at Christmas the French will have foie gras with it, which may not be everybody's cup of tea, but it's certainly a very good pairing. But actually seafood, oysters, lobster, anything again, you know, the saltiness and the richness, and this will cut through. It's fantastic with Thai dishes. It's just great with cheeses, superb with cheeses. It goes very well with blue cheese. And it will work with desserts, but you don't want a dessert that is sweeter than it. Probably more fruit-based desserts. But this hits every part of the meal on Christmas Day, and it will, you know, it's great aperitif as well, and it's a year-round drink. But people don't think of it. People think Sauternes dessert wine, and I think that's dumbed it down a bit. And the French don't think like that, but we do here, and that's
why we're here. To educate the masses.
That's right. And so 2017 was a very good year. So this one is Cuvée Emily. So Clos Lecomte make 3 Sauternes, a standard entry level one. This cuvée and Cuvée Céline, which is their top cuvée, which is only made in best years. So this is fantastic quality. And again, for the price, we were talking about it. I think this is 28, 30 pounds. I can't remember.
28.49.
28.49 for 75 cents a litre.
Yeah.
This will age for 20, 30 years as well.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It will go darker, nutty, and dried fruits, and whatever. But
amazing value, considering what we were just talking about the giants of that region and what they sell the wines for. And I mean, I mentioned at the beginning, but about, you know, a very nice serve, you know, very different, is over ice with a bit of orange rind. And I think we just to kind of embolden people to try out their own different serves, and maybe a drizzle over ice cream, that might be nice as well. or even over fruit, because it's got this.
It does. You know, there are plenty of recipes with fruit steeped in sauterne or even baked in sauterne, and that does go together because the fruit and the sauterne do balance each other out. The fruit's not going to overpower, and in fact, sauterne's going to add that sort of honeyed floral characteristic to it.
I think there's a problem when people just reserve these wines for the last two courses, like for the teas and the dessert, like we were saying, and then they're left with half a bottle and they don't know what to do with it. But we're saying, have it throughout the meal, have it as an option at least. But then afterwards, you can cook with it, but make some really exquisite dishes. Yeah. Don't burn off all the loveliness, obviously.
No. But I mean, you could start with some oysters or some salmon with it. You could have, it will go with a lot of strong flavors. And then the next day, if you're making a stir fry or a turkey curry or whatever, that will go very well with that too, because it will take the spice. It will,
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay, what's next? We've got two left.
Two left. So we're going to Austria again, nearer Vienna this time, actually near the Hungarian border to Burgenland, to Krakow. And this is the Krakow Cuvée Beer and Auslese. Now, Krakow are one of the most fabled sweet wine producers in the world. I can do my Jeremy Clarkson bit. In the world. So the world. Yeah, they have a following, especially for they do TBAs, so Trockenbeer and Ausleses, which are numbered, which are collectible. But they have garnered a reputation. It's now being run by Gerhard Krakow, and previously to that, his father Alois, who really built a reputation for the wine estate. And again, the similarity is, you think of Sauterne, they have a big lake that the vineyards are close to, the Lake Neusiedl. And that again creates these fogs and mists, which creates the noble rot, which allows you to produce these fantastic sweet wines. So the Cuvée Beer and Auslese is, of their regular range, is the top of the tree. Again, Beer and Auslese means berry selection, so it's their top selection of berries. So you've got the real concentration. It's made with a blend of 60% Chardonnay, 40% Welsh Riesling. It's aged for 12 months in large, some of which is oak. Again, different characteristics. It's got high residual sugar, but it's got fantastic acidity. It is a sommelier's favourite. It is served all around the world by the glass.
Yeah, I've seen this before in many restaurants.
It's an incredible wine. It got a platinum medal and 97 points at last year's Decanter World Wine Awards. It is very, very good. And again, we're showing three different styles of essentially botrytis wines, but different grape varieties, slightly different techniques, different parts of the world. This will again do very well with fruit-based desserts, but it will do very well with cheese. Great as just a glass on its own.
I mean, this one is so concentrated on the nose. It's giving a lot, like I'm getting like dried aged.
It is. It's super concentrated.
Lots of floral notes as well. So it's honeysuckle.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
I know you get a lot there, and again, it will be very long lasting. 10 years time, it will be a different beast. But a handy sized bottle. You can get them in larger, but just a stunning wine and a stunning maker. If you see anything from Krakow anywhere, it's worth giving it a go.
Okay, fantastic. And so it's 11%, so not going to blow anyone's head off.
No.
that is a really.
But again, I think this would probably be better the last couple of courses of the meal. But it would do, again, it does do spicy foods very well as well if you don't finish it.
Did you say the grape variety on this one?
So it's a blend of Chardonnay, 60% Chardonnay, and 40% Welsh Riesling or Welsh Riesling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that one's great. I mean, it's one of those that will refresh the palate at the end of the meal, but also kind of it could be in place of a dessert.
Yeah. And in fact, some of these, if you feel like I've had too much food, have a glass of one of these at the end.
Yeah.
Amazingly, it will refresh your palate.
It does, because of the great acidity. It makes your mouth water again, so it does refresh the palate. Yeah.
And it will give you something sweet. So again, 2017. So actually, I've showed you 3 wines from 2017, which gives you a hint that 2017 in Europe was a very good year for botrytis wines.
Was it a bad year for other wines? Because of the
sometimes that's the saying, isn't it? But probably a bit early to tell.
But lovely. So an Austrian wine there. That is great. Right, I'm gonna pop the cork back on that one. Oh, and so with this one, again, you would say this would last in the fridge? Yeah,
I think all of the last 3 that we've chosen or we've tried would last. I mean, if you've got if it's just for you or you and a partner, and you've got a Coravin or some kind of a vacuum thing, maybe worth doing. But actually, because of the sugar and the acidity and the aging in them, they would last a bit of time in the fridge. You don't have to drink it that day. It would last several days. Just close it, as long as you seal it well, keep it chilled. A couple of weeks at least. If not, I mean, some of them go. Some of the Tokais we keep in the fridge go on for
decades.
Well, so they don't last that long, but if we drink them. But no, exactly. So.
But this one, I think, you can get just a small bottle of this at this size, because it's so concentrated that you just need a little bit and you can just sip it and enjoy it. But not because it's cloying, just because it's rich, but it still has that lovely acidity.
There you go. Ian's just left a comment that I think backs it up.
Oh, right. He's had his Sauternes in the fridge for a week, and it's just as good as when he opened it. Nice.
There you go. Very good. So, that's actually the end of the wine, because technically now we're not drinking wine.
Okay, this is the wild card.
This is the wild card. This is a lovely way to finish. Intense, beautiful ice cider from Quebec in Canada.
Ooh, look, it's got a lovely wax seal here.
So this is a 2011 ice cider. It's a very rare thing. You do see the odd ice cider in the UK now, but again, more of a sommelier-led drink. But so the similar principle for those that might be aware of ice wine, where Canada's a great example, but certainly parts of Europe as well create ice wines, where the freezing temperatures concentrate the sugars in the grapes. Well, this does exactly the same with the apples.
Wow!
These are particular 2 types of apple. It gets down to about minus 25 degrees. Concentrates the sugars right down into the apple in the apples. It's fermented naturally, and actually, I mean, one of the things here is it takes the same number of apples to create that bottle as it would 4 75 centiliter bottles of cider, normal cider. So the real
At the end, they squeeze the tiniest bit of juice out.
Yeah. So it's a slow, natural fermentation, which actually peters out itself. So it retains a lot of the sweetness and the sugar in there, and then it is aged for 2 years before release. So as I say, so this is 2011. Now,
wow,
this this, apart from blue cheese, this is the thing to finish dessert or even just have as dessert. And this is my, I'm not going to show PX, I'm going to show this moment.
Okay.
Think.
Well, I mean,
think.
lots of sommeliers, lots of people in the wine trade, they know and love PX already, but this is going to be, you know, like we said, the wild card, something a bit different. And people in the trade always like to show something that other people haven't seen.
Absolutely. And I'm dribbling now. This is very good. So think.
You still got away with that. I missed that.
Yeah. Think
toffee apple.
Toffee apples.
Oh,
toffee apples. This is often served with tarte tatin and things like this. It is just, toffee apples, butterscotch.
Oh, you get a bit of pastry as well, now you said.
Yes, you do. You get a bit of vanilla. It's just unctuous. I think unctuous is the right word. And you could have this as a dessert on its own, but honestly, this will go with, you know, any rich sweet dessert. I wouldn't say chocolate, but I would say, you know, a good tarte tatin, good apple crumble, something with a bit of caramel on it, a creme caramel, all these kind of things. This would absolutely.
Creme brulee.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Absolutely superb. Yeah.
Again, the acidity is so good. It's just like still refreshing.
Yeah. And this is it.
Clean.
This is it. Yeah. I mean, they do. This will absolutely go very well with blue cheeses, Roqueforts, Stiltons. It will go with spice, like all of them. It will go very well with spicy food. But
this is a dangerous one. This is one of those that you could just sit in front of the Christmas Day movie and just keep sitting on this.
You could indeed. It's very contemplative. I think, there's a few bottles here where you could just have a glass at the end of the day and just relax.
But this one, I think you would keep going back for the next.
You would. It's superb. It's superb and a rarity.
Wow. And again, such a smart bottle, beautiful design.
Yeah, and that will never go off.
Never go off.
No.
Well,
they go on for I mean, the producer was saying to me that, you know, 30, 40 years it could develop.
Wow. Ian, the ABV is 13.
13.
Oh, and Feed the Barista is saying, would you kindly repeat the name of that bottle? Oh,
Le Duc Piemonte.
Oh, there you go. Le Duc Piemonte.
Yeah.
It is an ice cider from Canada.
Yeah, Quebec state in Canada.
Very nice.
So it needs to be very cold. It needs to be an area that grows great apples. And it's but the principle of it is very similar to creating an ice wine.
Yeah. So this one, 28.49.
Yeah.
So little special bottle to put on the table at the end, or a treat for yourself in front of a Christmas Day movie, which I think I might do.
Yeah.
But, and again, great gift because it's so rare. You don't see
it is, and actually I think we have some that actually go in gift boxes, so you get that as well. So I mean, I hope people have found it enjoyable. I mean, the wines are superb. It's been great tasting them. I know most people haven't had a chance to have a glass, although it sounds like Ian's been enjoying himself with the Sauternes. So
Ian's having a great time. But also he's joined us for our 3 sessions.
How's it? Yeah, well.
So
good.
I think he needs to be rewarded.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Well, I'm sure, yes. I think one of these bottles could find its way to Ian, I'm sure. Maybe he should mention which one he would like.
Oh, there you go, Ian. If he's still there. If he's not, I'm afraid you've... Oh.
Tawny Port now. No.
Brilliant.
We're not really Deliveroo or Get Here, but we'll do it as much as we can. But yeah,
there you go.
We'll organise that for you, Ian. That's good.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, thank you, Matt, for leading us through these 3 amazing sessions on Christmas wines. For those of you that have just joined us tonight, go back onto my page and look at the first and the second session, which first one was sparkling wines. And the second one was the Christmas Classic Alternatives, which was loads of fun and loads of value to be found there as well.
Yeah.
But I hope we've introduced people to, well, you know, the world of fortified wine and desserts and stickies can be pretty intimidating because, you know, often you would just grab the most recognizable bottle of Ruby Port off the shelf to go with your
Sorry, I lost you there a bit, Sophia.
Can you hear me?
I can now. It's fine. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's good. I mean, I think it's right. Every week we've tried to look at something that's slightly different and that give people a bit of confidence, introduce them to something new, something that's a point of difference that they can put on the table and enjoy. And certainly with the sweet wines and the fortifieds, is people should try them. Your guests, your family will love them. They will go very well with food. And it's not a case of pouring them down the sink after 2 weeks because you don't know what to do with them. You know, there's a lot you can do with them. And, you know, so many great producers wouldn't make such great wines if there wasn't a reason behind it. You know, we just, you know, have to give it a go. And I think that's, you know, the sort of point of 9 Elms is to bring these wines from small producers from around the world to a wider audience. And that's, you know, what hopefully the last 3 weeks have helped introduce.
Oh, I think they definitely have. Yeah. And I think, did you catch the bit where I was saying how versatile these sweet wines were?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Because I know that there was like, I don't know what happened, but I might have frozen for a bit there.
That's okay. But you're absolutely right. I think that was the theme for, as I said at the start, versatility. You know, they're not one-trick wines. Exactly. None of them.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I will put all these, I'll put the names of all the wines on my post when I save this to Instagram now. But yeah, thank you so much. And I hope we can do some more of these in the future after Christmas, hopefully.
Yes, I hope everyone has a fantastic Christmas. And thank you, Sophia, for talking with us for the last 3 weeks and leading us through. It's been fantastic.
It's my absolute pleasure. I've been able to taste some fantastic wines.
No, and I hope everyone's enjoyed it. So
yeah, brilliant. Okay.
Thanks very much.
All right, thank you.
Cheers then. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye.